Imagine 700 factories, one city, one night, and every single light just goes out. That actually happened. And if you think it has nothing to do with you, stick around because your supply chain would like a word. This is Morbi, Gujarat. And it is not just some industrial town on a map. This place produces 70% of India's ceramic tiles, pulling in somewhere between 60,000 and 80,000 crore rupees every single year. That is not a small operation. That is essentially the backbone of every floor, every wall, every kitchen backsplash going into construction projects across the country. And right now, 90% of it is completely dark, with no restart planned before the 15th of April 2026 at the earliest. We are talking about an industry-wide coordinated shutdown that began on the 17th of March 2026 and has just held. So what actually happened? Two words: gas shortage. Morbi's kilns. The massive furnaces that fire ceramic tiles run on LNG, which is liquefied natural gas, basically the compressed fuel that keeps the whole operation alive. A significant chunk of that LNG arrives via ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, that narrow stretch of water between Iran and Oman that handles roughly 20% of the world's oil and gas trade. Disruptions there have choked India's LNG imports, and Morbi's kilns are left with nothing to burn. But here's where it compounds. Raw material imports from China have taken a hit too. Shipping costs per container have gone from $700 to $800 to $2,800. That's nearly a 4 times jump. Think of it like your regular courier suddenly charging 4 times more to deliver the exact same parcel. Except you can't just switch couriers, because everyone's in the same boat. For small ceramic units already running on razor-thin margins, that kind of cost spike doesn't just hurt. It can be fatal. Now, and this is the part that actually surprised me, the government didn't force this shutdown. The industry chose this. Collectively. Like every shop in a market agreeing to pull their shutters down together to protest rising electricity bills. The logic is simple. Make the disruption loud enough and visible enough that the government has no choice but to respond. The risk, though, is real. Every day those kilns stay cold, buyers start sourcing from elsewhere. Workers migrate to other cities, and restarting gets harder and harder. So that's the what and the why. But the bigger question is, who actually feels this, and how bad does it get? That's exactly where we're headed next. So now that you know what broke, let's talk about who's bleeding, who's quietly winning, and what this means if you have skin in the game. Sound familiar? A crisis hits one corner of an industry, and suddenly the big players get bigger while the small ones fight just to stay alive. That's exactly the playbook unfolding in Morbi right now. The 700 plus ceramic units here are overwhelmingly small and medium, family-run operations. No deep cash reserves, no diversified revenue. And here's the brutal math. When kilns go cold, the bills don't. Rent, loan EMIs, staff salaries. All of it keeps running. Layer on top of that a 4 times shipping surge already eating into margins and zero production happening, and you can see how fast cash buffers drain. For many of these units, a shutdown stretching past April 15th, 2026 isn't just painful, it's existential. And it's not just the tile makers bleeding here. Think about everyone orbiting this industry. Truckers, logistics companies, raw material suppliers, packaging vendors. Their revenue didn't pause. It vanished. Disrupted supply networks are genuinely hard to rebuild, and some of these ancillary businesses may simply not survive long enough to see the kilns restart. Now, flip the coin. Large, diversified manufacturers. Companies like Khajaria Ceramics operating nationally with deeper pockets are quietly positioned to gain. When smaller Morbi units can't fulfill orders, buyers go to whoever can deliver. That's the big players. They absorb the disruption, capture market share, and could even pick up distressed Morbi assets at lower valuations once the dust settles. And here's the wildcard winner nobody's talking about. Green technology providers. This crisis has made it painfully obvious how dangerous it is to depend on a single imported energy source. That's accelerating real demand for hydrogen kilns and alternative energy solutions. If you're in clean energy or industrial tech, doors that were barely cracked before are opening right now. The Gujarat Chief Minister has offered verbal assurances of support, possibly subsidies for energy transition, easier credit for modernization. Nothing confirmed yet, but the political pressure is real, and it's pointing somewhere. Bottom line, if you're small and energy dependent, this is your warning shot. If you're well capitalized or sitting in green tech, this disruption is your opening. Next, let's zoom out and look at what all of this means for India's broader trade position. So, we know the scale of the damage. Now the real question, what happens when the kilns come back on, and how do you make sure you're on the right side of what comes next? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Even after the 15th of April 2026, Morbi doesn't just snap back. Some things have permanently shifted. And the businesses that clock this early are the ones that come out ahead. The biggest shift? Energy. This whole crisis is essentially a masterclass in what happens when an entire industry, 60,000 to 80,000 crore rupees of annual output. Runs on a single imported fuel, routed through one geopolitical choke point. The Strait of Hormuz didn't just cut the gas. It exposed a structural flaw that was always there, hiding in plain sight. So going forward, expect real pressure on ceramic manufacturers to diversify their energy mix. Hydrogen kilns, solar-powered firing systems, domestic gas alternatives. Watch the trend line on this, because it is moving up fast. These aren't wish list items anymore. They're survival tools. If you're in energy solutions or industrial equipment, this is genuinely your window. For the small and medium ceramic units, there are two lanes. Lane 1. Survive the shutdown, restart, hope LNG normalizes. Lane 2. Harder, smarter. Use this forced pause to actually modernize. The Gujarat government has been making noises about subsidies and easier credit for modernization. Not guaranteed, but it signals political intent. Position early for those schemes and you're ahead of the pack. For buyers and distributors, brace for price increases. 90% of capacity offline, shipping costs still nearly 4 times their previous levels. Supply is tight. If you're in construction, interior design, real estate, locking in contracts or inventory before full restart could save you serious money. And the broader lesson here goes way beyond tiles. Overdependence on one supplier, one route, one energy source. It's a risk that looks invisible, right up until it isn't. Build supply chain resilience now and the next disruption. Whatever form it takes. Won't hit you the same way. Morbi's crisis is a stress test. The survivors won't just be the ones with the deepest pockets. They'll be the ones who use this moment to build something smarter. Follow us for more updates like this. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and X.